Well, two Brooklyn families dreamed of having children, something that they didn't think would be difficult until they hit an unexpected roadblock, New York's ban on paid surrogacy. And on Thursday, though, the state legalized it after 28 years. News 12's Aisha McKenzie takes a look at that journey.
It's amazing. It's amazing being a mom.
It's difficult to kind of put into words.
My daughter is Pearl, and she's 4 years old. She is effervescent.
Use your muscles. Use your muscles. Her name is Elan, and the word Elan actually means to do something with spirited energy and purpose.
The road to parenthood for Sanara Charles Pierre and Dennis Williams wasn't the easiest.
We usually don't have 17 years of marriage and a 4-year-old. So that comes with a lot of years of pain and struggle.
I started that journey hoping that I would have a family, but with no certainty that it would happen.
We started to talk to doctors to see if there's anything that we should know about from a genetic standpoint. We both got tested, nothing came up. Doctor said, you seem perfectly fine. There should not be any issues. It could just be bad luck. And so we tried again and again and again and again until ultimately, next thing you know, it's been 10 years and 8 losses. Probably around the 6th loss, I started thinking, I wonder if there's another means to this. Is there a way for us to have a biological child? But maybe I'm not going to be the vessel by which we have our child.
When Sanara and her husband came to that realization, they considered surrogacy, a road they never thought of going down.
We froze our embryos and sort of took things a step because we're not, you know, a Kardashian.
And Dennis seeking out the same process as well when a friend decided to donate her eggs for him to create a family.
It's just not a given that everyone who wants a family will have a family. And so I know that, I think, more than most people, because the process of having a kid through IVF and gestational surrogacy is a challenging one, and you can take nothing for granted in that process.
And one challenge both Sanara and Dennis were somewhat blindsided by a few years ago was to learn that surrogacy was actually illegal in New York, and they had to start their families in different states.
I thought I was living in the most progressive state in the union, basically.
So I knew it in a kind of mental way, but when I started doing it, it became obviously much more personal.
It was personal as well for William and Elizabeth Stern and their surrogate Mary Beth Whitehead. In 1987, the highly publicized Baby M custody case would be the catalyst for New York banning the practice. Whitehead fighting for parental rights of the child she carried for the Stern family because her egg was used through traditional surrogacy. A judge denying the surrogate custody but granting it to the father, William Stern. And in 1992, New York made the decision to put the ban in place.
Let's move forward and finally pass a law to legalize gestational surrogacy to allow same-sex couples and those struggling with infertility to conceive a child through assisted reproduction.
But the battle is over in Albany to legalize gestational surrogacy, which is when the surrogate has no biological link to the child. After 28 years, the governor getting it in the 2021 budget.
Let's right this wrong.
Cuomo championing what he called the Love Makes a Family campaign, or the Child Parent Security Act.
Imagine I came to New York from the Midwest so I could be free to live my life, but I had to leave New York to have a child.
TV host Andy Cohen, who supported this legislation, taking to Instagram on Thursday to announce the big move by state lawmakers. But before its passing, the proposal to legalize surrogacy drew a whole lot of criticism from an odd parent, conservatives, and feminists, many citing the harm it can do to financially struggling young women.
The extent of the pushback and who it came from was surprising.
From the Baby M case in the 80s to the ban in 1992, 18 years passed before the idea to lift the surrogacy ban was introduced to the state legislature, and it was the work of Assemblywoman Amy Paulin.
And it resonated with me because I myself had fertility issues trying to get pregnant with my second child.
Her bill clearing the Senate, teaming up with Senator Brad Horman, but never getting past her own chamber. Senator Liz Krueger giving it a no vote last year, and she was the only Democrat to do so.
When you make it a money story, it's very important that you are building in extra protections for the health and safety of the people involved in the transactions.
Senator Krueger's proposed legislation was dubbed the Compromise Bill, and it included mandates that would subject intended parents to background checks, have a surrogate provide a written declaration giving up parental rights no sooner than 8 days, and strict guidelines for fertility centers, clinics, and agencies.
I do not think the industry who are making the money should be the ones setting the rules of the road. I think government should be regulating, working with doctors in best practice.
It's not exactly clear how much of Kruger's or Paulin's bills are included in this recently passed legislation, but the enacted 2021 state budget says it will provide strong protections for both intended parents and surrogates. It will require informed consent every step of the way. A surrogate bill of rights will be created and allow surrogates to make their own health care decisions and grant them access to health insurance and independent legal counsel, which will be paid for by the parents. And it will also establish parenthood if one of the individuals is a non-biological parent, also known as second parent adoption.
We don't see a lot of gay male couples. That's one way in which it has affected it. And a lot of that is because, you know, it is such a big process to obtain both an egg donor and a gestational carrier. If you have a clinic who can do all of it in one step, that certainly makes things a lot easier for them.
Dr. Brianna Rudig says clinics like the Columbia University Fertility Center are ready to start helping New Yorkers who want to start their families through surrogacy.
I think it's going to help a lot of people. I know it will.
I get all choked up about this stuff, but you know, she gave me like this invaluable, priceless gift.
You cannot put a price on this act, this unbelievable gift. I don't know how else to say it other than that.
Aisha McKenzie, News 12.